Hold on tight, Burgundy hard hats. The franchise is 3 decisions away from either soaring to glory or sinking into the NFC East abyss. First up, a quiet rookie trying to steal the spotlight from an injured Pro Bowler. Why is his 4th round signing seen as espionage against the 49ers? Second, shelling out $45 million to a bust tossed aside by San Fran. Is Adam Peters setting a trap for the Eagles and Cowboys? And third, the man, the myth, the legend, skipping practice for the first time in his career. If they lose their star wide receiver over stinginess, Jerry Jones will pay $35 million just to watch them burn. Sound alarms, share this before the mods take it down, and shock the subscribe button. Gonna gamble on the team's future. The video deletes in 48 hours, and you won't know who the next captain will be. Remember when we all thought Deebo Samuel was the big offensive addition? Well, there's a rookie no one is talking about, who might be Adam Peters' smartest move. Jaylen Lane, a 4th round pick from Virginia Tech, doesn't have mind-blowing stats. Less than 600 yards per season, 8 touchdowns over 2 years. But you know what? Sometimes diamonds are found in unexpected places. Let's dive into this because Lane's story is fascinating. He played 3 years at Middle Tennessee before transferring to Virginia Tech. 5 years of college experience, meaning he already has the mental maturity many rookies lack. Fred Smoot, who knows talent from his time here in Washington, made a comment that's been on my mind all week. This guy's thick for a wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if everything we see Deebo Samuel do, they're prepping him to do the same. Do you understand the implication of that? Because I do, and it's awesome. Deebo Samuel isn't just a receiver, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can run from the backfield, line up in the slot, do jet sweeps, act as a decoy in running plays. He's a mismatch nightmare for defenses. If Lane can do even 70% of what Deebo does, we've got a massive steal in the 4th round. But here's what really excites me. Smoot also said something that blew my mind. I love receivers who play with terrible quarterbacks because you never know what their real ceiling is. When he watched Lane's film at Virginia Tech, every pass thrown, his way was terrible. But you know what Lane did? Catch after catch after catch, with throws that had no business being completed. I think this is exactly the type of receiver we need. Jaden Daniels had a historic rookie season, but is still developing his timing with receivers. Having someone like Lane, accustomed to making tough catches and adjusting to imperfect throws, is valuable. And here comes the business side convincing me Peters is playing chess while others play checkers. Deebo Samuel came in a trade but didn't renew his contract. He's 29, has had lower body muscle injuries since college, and is in the last year of his deal. Do you really think the Commanders will pay a 30-year-old receiver coming off injury concerns when they have a rookie learning the same skill set? Because I tell you this, if Lane develops this year as Deebo's understudy, learning routes, mastering the playbook, becoming a mismatch weapon, the Commanders will have a player with the same production for a fraction of the cost next year. And that's smart business. Lane will start on special teams, have limited offensive snaps, but he'll be watching, learning, absorbing everything from one of the best versatile weapons in the NFL. When Deebo leaves next year, Lane will be ready. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this, because what's coming will make you wonder if our defense is truly ready to compete, or if we've just made one of the costliest mistakes in the franchise's recent history. After years of watching this team make questionable free agency decisions, we thought Adam Peters would be different. But it turns out Bleacher Report just named Javon Kinlaw as the top candidate to be our biggest flop this season. 3 years? $45 million for a player who had 4.5 sacks last year. Are they crazy? Let's break this down completely because the numbers are worrying. Kinlaw was a first-round pick in 2020 by the 49ers. 4 years in San Francisco, constant injury problems, never established as a consistent starter. He joins the Jets last year, plays all 17 games for the first time, and produces 4.5 sacks. That's it, but you know what's more alarming? He only had 5 tackles for loss the entire season. 5. For a defensive lineman earning $15 million a year, that's unacceptable. And only 12 QB pressures in 17 games. Compare that to Aaron Donald, who had 53 pressures in 14 games. Compare that to any elite pass rusher in the league. I understand we needed to replace Jonathan Allen after cutting him right before free agency. I understand the defensive line was a priority after having one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL last season. But let me explain why this keeps me up at night. Dante Fowler Jr. led our team in sacks last season. Not elite, but our best option. And we let him walk in free agency to bring someone who produces less pressure. What's the logic in that? I tell you this, if Fowler was our best option and had only mediocre numbers, why replace him with someone who produces less? But here's the analysis that really worries me. The Jets were an organizational disaster last year, and yet Kinlaw only produced 4.5 sacks. Aaron Rodgers causing drama every week, Robert Saleh fired mid-season, a completely dysfunctional offense, creating terrible field position for the defense. Kinlaw had every excuse to underperform, yet 4.5 sacks was his career high. Do you think the Cowboys would have paid that? The Eagles? Jerry Jones is laughing in Dallas watching us spend our cap space, and Nick Sirianni is probably wondering how we can afford mistakes like this when trying to compete in the same division. Now, I'll be fair here. Kinlaw has undeniable physical tools. 6'5", 300 pounds, athleticism allowing multiple positions on the line. There's a reason the 49ers drafted him in the first round, but potential doesn't win football games, production does. The pressure is now completely on Joe Witt Jr. to maximize Kinlaw's talent, because if this guy doesn't produce at least 8 sacks this season, we'll be talking about one of the worst contracts in the franchise's recent history. With Darren Payne as the other pillar of our defensive line, there's no room for error. But you know what bothers me most? Maybe, just maybe, Kinlaw will prove everyone wrong. Maybe the change of scenery will unlock something unseen in San Francisco or New York. Maybe Joe Witt Jr. will scheme him into favorable matchups. Maybe playing next to Darren Payne will create more one-on-one opportunities. I think that's what Peters is betting on. But betting $45 million on maybes is dangerous business in the NFL. Because if this doesn't work out, we're looking at dead cap space, limited flexibility, another year of mediocre pass rush. But that's nothing compared to what's coming up. Because the most explosive situation involves our number 1 receiver and a decision that could change the entire future of this franchise. No way! Terry McLaurin just proved once again why he's one of the best receivers in the entire NFL, and Adam Peters still hasn't given him the extension he deserves. Pro Football Focus ranked him among the best deep pass threats in the league. 96 receptions, 1,323 yards, all playing with different quarterbacks throughout his career. But let's delve into these numbers because they are historic. McLaurin is the only receiver in this PFF analysis who had a season over 1,000 yards in 2024. The only one! While other receivers with better quarterbacks, better offensive lines, better supporting cast couldn't reach that mark. McLaurin did it with a rookie quarterback. 16 deep receptions for 474 yards. That ranked 7th among all NFL receivers. And here's the incredible part. He did it on only 32 deep targets, compared to DK Metcalf, who had the same number of targets but less production. Compared to George Pickens, who had more opportunities but couldn't convert at the same rate. Do you realize what 5 consecutive seasons of over 1,000 receiving yards means? That's Burgundy and Gold history, baby. In a franchise with legendary receivers, McLaurin is writing his own chapter. Art Monk, Gary Clark, Santana Moss, all great. But none had the consistency McLaurin has shown. Most impressively, he did it with quarterbacks like Carson Wentz, who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Taylor Heineke, who had heart but limited arm talent. Alex Smith, recovering from a horrific injury. Sam Howell, learning on the job. Now, with Jayden Daniels, who had one of the best rookie seasons we've seen, the chemistry between them is explosive. But here's the problem that has me absolutely furious. McLaurin skipped voluntary OTAs and mandatory minicamp last month. Why? Because he wants his extension, and he wants it now. $30 million per year new money is what insiders are reporting. And you know what? I tell you this, pay him now. Let me break down why this is so important. McLaurin turns 30 in September. For a receiver, that's usually when decline starts. But McLaurin just had the best season of his career. He's in his absolute prime. He has the best quarterback he has ever played with, ready to take this offense to the next level. 6 contested catches on 12 targets. That's a 50% catch rate in contested situations. Do you know how difficult that is? That requires elite hand-eye coordination, body control, and mental toughness. 500 yards after catch on deep balls. That means he's not just catching it, he's making plays after the catch. Here's what really gets me excited. McLaurin tied for 5th in total yards after catch with 100 yards on deep receptions. Averaged 8.3 yards after catch per reception in deep balls. That's not just a receiver, that's a playmaker. Now let's talk business, because this is where it gets complicated. $30 million per year would make him one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL. But let's compare that to what other teams are paying. Tyreek Hill got $30 million. Devontae Adams got $28. Cooper Kupp got $15. But that was years ago. And the cap has increased significantly. Do you think McLaurin doesn't deserve to be paid like an elite receiver? Because I tell you this, his production says otherwise. More importantly, his consistency says otherwise. 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons with different quarterbacks, different offensive coordinators, different systems. That's not luck. That's elite. But here's what's really frustrating me. Other teams are watching this situation. Dallas needs receiver help. Philadelphia always wants to improve their cores. Other NFC contenders are seeing a potential all-pro receiver who might hit the market. Do you really want McLaurin testing free agency? Because I believe if he hits the open market, he'll get more than $30 million per year. And then we'll kick ourselves for not locking him up while we had the chance. Jerry Jones would probably offer him $35 million just to rub it in our faces. We'd be sitting here wondering how we let the best receiver in franchise history walk away. The chemistry with Jayden Daniels is undeniable. They connected on some of the most beautiful throws you've ever seen. Deep comeback routes, back shoulder fades, crossing routes in traffic. Daniels' accuracy combined with McLaurin's route running is a match made in heaven. Are we going to break that up over money? But do you know what's most frustrating? McLaurin has been loyal to this organization. He's never complained publicly, never demanded a trade, never caused drama. He's shown up every single week, played through injuries, and given everything to this team. Are we going to let him walk because we don't want to pay market value? I tell you this, if we lose McLaurin, we're not just losing a receiver. We're losing leadership, consistency. The one offensive weapon defenses must account for on every single play. We're sending a message to the rest of the team that loyalty means nothing. Let's sum all this up, because these 3 situations are completely interconnected. A rookie with explosive potential that could save us millions, a contract that could cripple our cap space if it doesn't work out, and an extension that must happen if we want to keep our championship window open. Lane represents the future and smart drafting. Kinlaw represents the risks of upgrading through free agency. McLaurin represents everything this organization should value: consistency, loyalty, and elite production. I guarantee we'll have more explosive Commanders news tomorrow, because training, camp is right around the corner, and all these situations will come to a head. Hey, if you think McLaurin deserves his extension immediately, subscribe if you think Kinlaw will prove everyone wrong, and share if you believe Lane could be the draft steal. But I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 situations have you most worried? McLaurin's future could determine if we're contenders or not. The investment in Kinlaw could set back our defense for years. Or Lane's development could be the key to sustained success. Because this is our family, these are our Commanders, and we need to be united to support the right decisions and question those that don't make sense. Adam Peters has done a lot of good, but these next few weeks will define his legacy. If you want to continue being part of this community that breathes Burgundy and Gold, analyzes every move, every decision, every play affecting our team, you have to subscribe right now. I promise to follow every development, rumor, and report that could impact our season. And remember, we're not just fans. We're the heartbeat of this organization. Our voices matter, our opinions matter, and our passion drives this team forward. No matter what happens with these 3 situations, we'll support our Commanders through thick and thin.